gained a lot of respect for Jake because he's not a YouTuber that's just boxing just to box. He actually trains and actually want to get better and actually have got better and really putting his time, focus, and energy into boxing. So you got to respect that.
I'm like, man, yeah, them dudes just, using their YouTube status to come in boxing and make all this money. And you got all these boxers that's been doing it their whole life that doesn't even make close to what they making. I said, I think it's disrespectful to us in the game.
I feel he could talk shit about Mike Tyson. Do more, brother. Stop saying out.
Well, he said he gonna do more. He said he gonna do 90. He said he gonna do 90. Y'all did 74. We doing 90.
Terence Crawford just challenged Jake Paul after his fight with Mike Tyson. Terence Crawford didn't hold back when he aimed for Mike Tyson performance against Jake Paul. The reigning WBO welterweight champion made it clear he wasn't impressed with what he saw from the former heavyweight kingpin. Crawford didn't sugarcoat it. He outright called Tyson's showing trash brutal right. But let's face it, Tyson was up against a much younger opponent, and the 58-year-old had been out of the ring for nearly 2 decades, so was it really surprising?
Mike Tyson had that moment for himself and his family. I'm happy to hear that he's better health-wise. I'm certainly happy he got that bag. I think it was about $20 million that he got for the night. On that surface, I'm very, very happy for him. I wish him nothing but the best. All of us who love boxing will forever be fans of Mike Tyson. Mad love and respect to him. He looked bad. He looked like somebody that was in a hospital months earlier. He looked like somebody that, as he described, who lost a lot of blood, lost a lot of weight, etc. I watched Mike Tyson walking to the ring. He stumbled while he was walking to the ring. Then they looked lower when the camera angle zoomed out, and he had a knee brace on his right knee. He got in the ring, he looked old, he looked slow. And I want to make sure that I'm clear about what I'm about to say. Under no circumstances do I believe it was something that was preordained, but I believe that when Jake Paul was in the ring with Mike Tyson, there was something that said to him, I can't do this.
Mike Tyson was once the guy in boxing back in the 80s. He was a wrecking ball, knocking out opponents left and right, holding the heavyweight title like it was his birthright. Even after his 3-year stint in prison, the fear factor he brought into the ring was unmatched. People saw Tyson and thought this: dude is going to obliterate anyone who stands in his way, but Father Time doesn't play favorites, and Tyson's age showed during fight night at T Stadium.
If you have a legacy like Mike Tyson, are you putting yourself in that position just for $20 million?
Hell yeah.
I'm never downplaying my legacy if I'm a person like Mike Tyson.
He fought Roy Jones Jr. How is he downplaying his legacy?
He got paid $10 million to fight Roy Jones.
10.
He got paid $20 million to fight a YouTuber.
How many boxers was mad that the whole fight happened? It was a lot.
A lot. You know why? They didn't get the call. No. They didn't get the call. If Kai want to play me one-on-one right now for $100 grand, I lost.
That's not the same thing.
I'm sure like Mikal Bridges on the. Yeah. What happened to Gil Jumper? It's called $100 grand.
I'm not selling my soul. I work for that.
Brother, you sold your soul to the Bucks.
No, I didn't.
Hey, play the video.
Huh?
Jake Paul at just 27 was fresh, energetic, and strategic. Tyson, despite a solid start that gave fans a little glimmer of hope, couldn't keep up as the fight dragged on. By the time the decision came in, Paul was the clear winner, leaving Tyson's return to the ring feeling more like a nostalgic throwback than a real comeback. Now Crawford stepped into the conversation with his sharp critique to him. Tyson didn't just lose, he failed. Crawford slammed Tyson for the lack of punches thrown, saying it looked like he had no game plan and was out of his depth, and then like a cherry on top of an already savage critique, Crawford issued a challenge. He wants Jake Paul to prove himself against a real fighter, and not just any fighter, but him. Crawford versus Paul, that's the kind of fight that would sell arenas and break the internet. Crawford's call out is as much about defending boxing's legacy as it is about settling scores. To him, Tyson's loss isn't just a personal defeat, it's a blow to the sport's reputation. And let's be real, Crawford is itching to show the world that Jake Paul isn't ready to hang with real champions. Whether Jake will take the bait remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, Crawford isn't letting this one slide. The WBO welterweight champ didn't seem impressed at all after watching the 58-year-old legend get Outworked by a YouTuber turned boxer 31 years his junior, the fight held at a packed at T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, was Tyson's first professional bout in nearly 2 decades, and it showed.
It just hurt me to see Mike there in that situation, like knowing Mike, what he can do, and see him there with Jake Paul, and Jake Paul, like, hey man, like that side just hurt me. Although, like, you have to give it to Mike, man. This is 58 years old Mike Tyson, that been doing this sport since 12 years old, I believe. And then to be able to still be able to like stand up on his own at this age, I think is impressive. And stand up against a young 27 years old guy, even though I would say he wouldn't be at that level, but wasn't that much a threat for Mike, though. Like, you have to give it up for him, to him, standing up by his own at that age, and go like over 15 minutes with a young guy. Man, that was impressive.
We saw what you said, joking around, that you would smack him around the next time you see him. He responded, is it that crazy to think he just fought at heavyweight? Is there any scenario where there could be a Francis Ngannou heavyweight boxing match?
No. Come on, don't be silly, Steve.
You get people are bringing it up, though. He did fight at heavyweight.
No. Maybe we put the two Paul brother in the arena and in the cage, lock the cage, and then maybe there's something to do there. Come on, like, respect me a little bit.
For all the hype leading up to the fight, Tyson struggled to keep up with Paul's energy. He managed to throw only 97 punches throughout 8 rounds, which isn't exactly the kind of volume you'd expect from someone with his pedigree. Even at his age, sure, making it to the final bell was commendable, but let's be honest, this wasn't the Iron Mike fans remembered from the 80s. The unanimous decision for PA didn't surprise anyone who watched the bout closely. While some praised Tyson for going the distance, Crawford wasn't buying it. He felt the compliments were a little too generous, especially given how much time Tyson had spent training for the fight. Still, Crawford admitted he was relieved Tyson didn't sustain any serious damage, because let's face it, no one wants to see a boxing icon get hurt in a mismatch like this.
I'm not gonna try to knock him out. He's Mike Tyson. He's 58 years old. He's 31 years older than me. I know I can take him. I don't need to do this. And for those who will question it, I will remind y'all that there have been moments in boxing where we've seen fighters exercising compassion. I remember when Larry Holmes reportedly cried because of how he was beating up on Muhammad Ali, praying that he wouldn't get up. He wouldn't get up and he wouldn't come out to fight. I remember seeing fighters, I've seen Roy Jones knock folks out, but step back and ask the referee, come on, man, stop. You gotta stop this. You know what I'm saying? I've seen plenty of fighters do that. And I'm saying that is what I saw Friday night. It was, I did not want to see. I was praying that Mike Tyson didn't get hurt. I was praying that he didn't get knocked out. I didn't want to see that. And I think that Jake Paul, there was something inside of Jake Paul that said, you know what? I don't want to do this either. And oh, by the way, it would make me look really, really bad to hurt this man because he shouldn't have been in there with him in the first place. Mike Tyson's 58 years old. Father Time is undefeated. There comes a moment in time when we all have to step back and step away. Mike Tyson, I will remind y'all, almost 20 years ago, got dropped by Kevin McBride, as L. Duncan pointed out last week, and wasn't even hurt. He was just tired because he was out of shape. And he lifted his arm looking for the referee to help him get up. And that was 20 years ago. So yeah, he went 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds and stuff like that. I'm glad it's over, Shannon. I was not happy with what I saw. Quite frankly, I was very, very sad, and I was scared looking at him in the ring, praying that he didn't get his brains beaten. And I'm happy that didn't happen.
Crawford was one of those boxers who didn't want this fight to happen in the first place because he feared that it would tarnish the legacy of boxing, and it might just have happened. The fight itself wasn't exactly a thriller. Tyson had a decent opening round, which turned out to be the only one he won. After that, Jake Paul kept things under control, doing just enough to secure his 11th victory in 12 fights without causing major harm to the boxing legend. The crowd had mixed reactions. Some booed the lack of action, but most seemed to enjoy the spectacle for what it was, a bizarre but entertaining Night out, as for Crawford, he doesn't just want to sit on the sidelines. Throwing shade, he's made it clear he wants a shot at Jake Paul himself, challenging the younger fighter to step into the ring with someone still in their prime now. That is a fight people would pay to see whether Jake takes the bait. Remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, Crawford is ready to back up his words with action. Terence Crawford, known as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the game, wasn't impressed with the spectacle of the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Like millions of others, he tuned in to see the 58-year-old former heavyweight champ step into the ring against a brash younger opponent. What he saw, though, left him shaking his head. Tyson, despite months of intense training that had fans hyped for a potential upset, only managed to throw 97 punches across 8 rounds for Crawford that just didn't cut it. Crawford wasn't entirely unsympathetic, though. After all, Tyson had been dealing with health issues earlier in the year, including an ulcer flare-up that required blood transfusions, but Crawford clearly expected better from someone of Tyson's legendary status. On the flip side, the Paul Tyson event wasn't just a boxing match, it was a spectacle that shattered records with over 300 fans packed into a T Stadium and $18 million in ticket sales. It became the biggest gate outside of Las Vegas in US history. It even pulled in 60 million viewers on Netflix, proving the power of star appeal. Even when the matchup itself wasn't the most thrilling, and now Crawford has his sights set on a new challenge. Topping those numbers, he's already talking about hosting a fight in front of 990,000 fans at Memorial Stadium in Nebraska, even though the venue officially only holds 85,000. It's a bold claim, but Crawford's never been one to shy away from a challenge to pull it off, though he knows he'll need a marquee opponent, someone with the kind of star power that can rival Paul or Tyson. Crawford isn't just chasing a record, he's looking to solidify his legacy while proving that boxing's best can still draw massive crowds. Whether he can match the spectacle of Paul versus Tyson remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, he's ready to make history and silence the doubters along the way. He is aiming to take boxing to a whole new level, and his latest idea might just shake up the sport, and he thinks he can go even bigger, like 990,000 fans.
Terence was inspired by what he's seen this weekend in the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. And not only did he have some criticism for 58-year-old Mike Tyson, but he also felt that it was time that he show the world that he can do 90,000 people and break the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson attendance record. Attendance record. Not the gate, okay? I know there's going to be people like James Benitez that's talking about the gate, talking about $2 million seats. I don't think that's what Bud is talking about. He made it clear 90,000, which is a number we haven't seen in boxing here stateside, here in the U.S., you know? So this is what we're going to be discussing, you know? I'm not an Illinois guy. Terence believes he can do this in Memorial Stadium. So I'm hoping we get some callers that can fill me in. Based off the comment section of his tweet, the people believe that, you know, Bud can do 90,000. They believe that area would come out and support Bud. I don't know. I certainly asked Bud the question. I haven't gotten a response yet because I asked on Twitter, but, you know, does opponent matter? And that's the question I have for you guys. Does opponent matter here? You know, can he do it with anyone, or does it have to be someone?
Crawford's career, while highly decorated, hasn't yet hit the pay-per-view heights of boxing legends like Floyd Mayweather or even Mike Tyson. His fight with Errol Spence Jr. last year was a big moment, selling out 20,000 seats at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. But it didn't exactly rewrite the record books. Tyson himself once commented that Crawford might need to step up his marketability if he wants to become the face of the sport. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is riding high after his victory over Tyson, solidifying his place as more than just a social media star dabbling in boxing. The Netflix exclusive event drew $60 million viewers worldwide, showing that Paul knows how to put on a spectacle. And now there's even buzz about a potential fight between Jake and his older brother Logan Paul. Imagine the chaos of a Paul versus Paul matchup. It's the kind of event that could break the internet. Logan's been in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, but Jake's knockout wins and recent triumph over Tyson give him an undeniable edge. A sibling rivalry in the ring is not confirmed, but it would be a blockbuster for now. Crawford's dream of packing 990,000 0,000 fans into a stadium remains just that, a dream, but in boxing, big dreams often lead to big moments. If Crawford can pull it off, it might just be the event that cements his legacy and reminds the world why he's one of the best to ever step into the ring. Jake Paul finds himself at a defining moment in his boxing career as he now stands at a crossroads. On one side, there's the tantalizing prospect of a blockbuster showdown with his brother Logan Paul. On the other, a much tougher path looms, facing Better Be Yav, the undisputed light heavyweight champion, who recently called Jake out on Instagram.
I just bring something different to the table. I've had only 34 professional fights. I've had no amateur fights, so I'm learning on the job. I'm the WBC Bridgerweight World Champion, former Cruiserweight Champion. And yes, he's going to bring something to the table. Arguably, probably give me my biggest payday, without a doubt. But I'm bringing something to the table for him. I'm going to give him an opportunity to fight for the most prestigious green and gold belt.
Yeah.
So should I win, people will say, well, you beat a YouTuber. Okay, we move on. Should he win, you beat a legit boxer who's been in there with some of the best. Should he lose, well, you lost to a world champion. It's okay, Jake. It's a win-win for both sides. Truthfully, it's a win for me. From a monetary point of view, I would make the biggest payday, because any fighter who says they don't want to fight Jake Paul because it's a good payday is talking shit. They must not lie to you. You get nothing out of fighting Jake Paul other than the media coverage that comes with it, the fame, the money, and that's what we do the sport for, to be heard and to be heard. And especially a guy who's come from no amateur background, who's come from South Africa, who had to work hard to get onto the international circuit. These are the moments you live for. Plus, you'll get monetized for it in a way that a champion deserves. So it's a win-win for both guys. I think it is realistic in a sense of, if I was Jake Paul, I'd go, well, I'm looking at this guy going, he's the WBC champion. He's giving me a world title shot. I want to test myself against the best. It's a win-win for him. Should he lose, well, you lost to a legit fighter. Should he win, well, you're a champion now, and pretty much you're legit.
For Jake, this is more than just another fight. It's a chance to prove himself against one of boxing's most dangerous competitors. Better Be Yav, with his brutal knockout power and undefeated record, represents the kind of challenge Jake's critics argue he's been dodging. Of course, the risks are massive. Facing Better Be Yav would be a leap into uncharted territory. Jake has built his brand on carefully curated matchups, taking on opponents who bring hype but aren't necessarily at their prime. Going toe-to-toe with an active undisputed champion is a completely different ballgame, but Jake's never been one to shy away from the spotlight, and a win or even a respectable showing against Better Be could rewrite the narrative around his career, which many are saying is filled with many questionable fights. Jake Paul thrives on unpredictability, and his next move will keep everyone watching. But if anything, people are already calling him the face of boxing, currently seeing how many boxers want to fight him.
So I'll just ask the very straightforward question. Do you know who his next opponent is yet?
We do not, but what I do know is Jake is the face of boxing, no matter what anyone wants to tell you. Okay. And he may not be the face of boxing from being the most advanced boxer at this point in time, but the heavyweight champ of the world is calling him out. Artur Beterbiev, who's one of the pound for pound greats, is calling him out. Gervonta Davis is calling him out. Ryan Garcia is calling him out, right? Like Francis Ngannou, who Jake has supported time and time again, is putting up tweets talking about, I want to slap Jake Paul. Again, people want attention and engagement. I get it. That one actually, didn't really sit well with Jake, because given how vocal Jake has been in supporting Francis. But there's no shortage of options of what Jake can do at the big level, and also at just like continuing to legitimize himself. People forget, like he fought a 17-2 Ryan Borland. That's a legit like fight for someone at Jake's level. The difference was Jake ended that dude in the first round, and that guy wasn't ready for the moment. Just like I said, Jake was ready for the moment with Mike Tyson, but many people are not ready for those moments. So we're going to continue to focus on building his career to gain the right experiences to obtain his ultimate goal, which is being a world champion. And we're also going to continue to do massive one-off events that capture the imagination of what's popular.
Terence Crawford is also stirring the pot and taking direct aim at Jake Paul, daring him to avenge Mike Tyson's recent defeat. It's been a whirlwind for Paul ever since his unanimous decision victory over Tyson at T Stadium in Texas. The bout shattered records. Now every fighter with a pulse seems To want a piece of him, while Jake Paul is no stranger to call-outs, Crawford's challenge hits differently. The pound-for-pound kingpin is itching to bring Paul into his world, where the punches sting a little harder, and the stakes are more than just spectacle. Crawford, known for his surgical precision and relentless drive, isn't one to play games. If he's offering Jake a seat at the table, it's not for a friendly exhibition, it's a full-course serving of reality. But here's the rub: Paul's rise in boxing hasn't exactly been about facing the toughest fighters out there. Sure, he's made waves knocking out MMA legends and going toe-to-toe with aging greats, but Crawford, that's a different beast altogether. Jake has built his empire on calculated risks, and stepping into the ring with one of boxing's finest might be a gamble, even if he isn't ready for it.
I mean, obviously, your motive in saying this is you don't look bad anymore because it's not a real fight.
What? Right. No, I didn't say it wasn't a real fight.
I mean, if I'm holding back, how is it a real fight? I'm shaving points, bro.
No, you're not shaving. He's still getting the victory. That's what he cared about. That's not shaving points. That's getting a victory.
I'm not going to get the victory. I mean, nobody gets paid for overtime in boxing. So if you could get a knockout, you're supposed to get him out of it. But let me get back to it.
Now when the guy's 58 and he's a legend and
Hey, man, off with his head.
It's not like Jake is short on options, though. Fighters like Daniel Dubas and Yorbibe Yav are practically lining up, sliding into DMS and publicly throwing their hats in the ring. Dubo, the IBF heavyweight champ, even got a get-in-line response from Jake, who's clearly enjoying his newfound status as boxing's hottest commodity. But let's be real, fights like these are more fantasy than reality. Between sanctioning body mandates and the sheer absurdity of Jake leaping into fights with top-ranked heavyweights, the logistics alone are a nightmare. Still, Crawford's challenge is intriguing. The Nebraska native has his sights set on a monumental event, and Jake stepping into that spotlight in Crawford's backyard, no less, would be the kind of spectacle the sport hasn't seen in years. For Jake, the decision isn't just about taking the fight. It's about what kind of legacy he wants to leave behind. Is he the ultimate disruptor who can go toe-to-toe with the best in the business, or does he stick to his formula, maximizing profits and entertaining fans without risking it all? Crawford, with his call-out, is asking the one question Paul's career has yet to answer: when will the Showman become a real contender? One thing is clear: Crawford is serious about making history, and if Jake Paul accepts, it might just be the fight that flips the script on his career. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. Thanks for watching.